The zeitgeist of the modern pop song. Melodic considerations. When creating the melody for the first verse, I decided to limit the note options and focus upon developing something more rhythmically orientated. Within the first verse, the main note is D flat, which is a connecting note between both chords. In this sense, it moves from the empty sounding note of a fifth to the grounded note of the root. Constantly looking at my phone, you mess me up, but I still call. Constantly looking at my phone, you mess me up, but I still call. Got to think, get my head clear. I'm hooked on you, you're what I need. There is a small movement in the latter half of the melody, where there is a passing note up to and down from an F note. In the case of G flat major, this ascends to its major 7th chordal tone, which again adds airiness to the melody, whilst over D flat major, it goes to its major 3rd chordal tone, which grounds it further. In the build-up to the pre-chorus, the melody uses the notes earlier on in the verse, except that they are sung sequentially upwards. Some examples are: So from the G flat's major 3rd, through a passing note onto the 5th, which becomes the root of the D flat, which then ascends to the major 3rd. You get me crazy, I get desire. You get me crazy, I get desire. You give me what I need to take me higher. The pre-chorus takes the melody into the upper register of the song and is sung primarily on the offbeat, thus creating a sense of tension. This portrays a sense of pleading anxiety within the protagonist. Gotta feel good, baby, feel good, you got me mad. Gotta feel good, baby, feel good, you got me real good. Gotta feel good, baby, feel good, you got me mad. Gotta feel good, baby, feel good, you got me real good. The melody notes in the first phrase alternate between A flat, the 9th, and F, the major 7th, over the G flat, which is somewhat similar to what Rita Ora sang in the chorus of New Look. If you find a new look now, would you kick the old one now? If you find a new look now, would you kick the old one now? If you find a new look now. The second phrase goes to the D flat, uses a passing note to ascend to the major 3rd note, again building the tension in the pre-chorus for the A flat to F alternating phrase. Within the chorus, the song reaches notes which are solid chordal tones, G flat melody notes in the G flat chord, and F note for the D flat chord. These act to ground the lyrics within the overall harmony. Call me, baby. All I want from you, all I want from you. Call me, baby. All I want from you, all I want from you. The song. The primary purpose behind writing a song in this modern pop style is to incorporate some of the principles and techniques previously discussed in the analytical sections of this masterclass on songwriting techniques. I shall begin by discussing some of the considerations that underpin the creation of accompaniment for this song. The software that I have been using to create the song is Logic Pro X and iZotope Nectar, which I've been using for many years and I'm comfortable with using. However, there were some production skills that I knew that I would have to learn, and I spent quite some time on the following YouTube channels: Make Pop Music, The Recording Revolution, Holistic Songwriting, Music Tech Help Guy. I decided to use the one-note centered melody accompanied by a skeleton harmony that would allow the necessary foundation for the production of this song. I felt that it was important to keep the chord progression minimal by utilising a 4-1 progression, similar to that commonly employed by Taylor Swift. The song begins with the following progression. I made the decision to add some non-accented transitory chords, i.e. they fall on the and the fourth beat, so that I could create a bit more energy within the progression, which was partly due to the emotional tension implied within the lyric. I did want to create some interest in the accompaniment, so I created a build-up similar to that of Mad Love and New Look. I recorded sustained chords using Logic Pro X Rhodes Piano and duplicated it onto an additional acoustic piano track, which I then mixed together. In order to create rhythmical interest, I applied a digital delay plugin, which was set up with a dotted repeat value. This created the syncopated feel I wanted. Additionally, a filter sweep has also been applied to create a sense of build-up within the section. Finally, to help accentuate the transition between the introduction and the first verse, a backwards reverb word was positioned so that it would swell and peak on the first word of verse 1. Finally, to fill out the tonal texture of the intro, I added an additional alchemy modulating synth pad, which simply has a D-flat recorded on each beat of the bar. Verses. For verse 1, I dropped the alchemy pad, so there would be a decrease in the section of the song. In introducing percussion, I recorded a clap sample on beats 2 and 4 to stay in line with the genre I'm working in. Similar to the chord tracks, I duplicated the track and used a different clap sample to thicken the sound. At the end of the verse, I added a short kick drum fill-in in order to emphasise the change to the pre-chorus. This first verse also introduced the bass. To keep the sense of drive, I matched the rhythm of the chords, but when it came to the transitory notes, I did not change the note to match. I held the main root note for each bar. Additionally, with the bass rhythm being similar to "You Need to Calm Down," I found some sounds that matched the synth patch in that song. Again, like the other instruments, I duplicated the bass in order to thicken it. Finally, I recorded a breath sound which was added at the start to act as a mirror to the reverse reverbed word that was added at the end of the intro. Pre-choruses. The arrangement for the pre-chorus is just a furthering of that found in the verse. The idea here is to start the build-up towards the chorus. An electronic snare drum is added and plays on the 2 and 4 to increase the intensity created by the claps. As well as a heavily delayed harmonised synth pad which matches the root notes of the chords. At the end of the pre-chorus, the backing drops out in order to create a suspend before the chorus. A technique, as we have seen before, used by Katy Perry, Rita Ora and Mabel. Chorus. I decided to use one of Logic Pro's built-in drummers, Leah Tech House. I experimented with it until I found something approaching what I felt was applicable for the song. I also added an electronic hi-hat playing on the beat as well as an additional kick drum to drive the song along. An FM synth is added and plays a D-flat note on the 2 and 4 to subtly accent the first chord. The chorus ends in like the intro, with the reverse vocal segueing into the second verse and a mirroring breath. Verse 2. Similar to the ideas presented by Austin Hull from Make Pop Music, I decided to add some more reverb synths to try and thicken the sound. A double-track mellotron, which is panned to both extremes, is added to give a sense of width to the music. The mellotron has a soft default sound which will thicken the sound without interfering with the vocals and the mix in general. An FM synth is added and plays a D-flat note to subtly accent the chords. Chorus 2, 3 and 4, these are essentially all the same, with the weight of the energy levels being taken by the vocal arrangement. Some additional synths and arpeggiated synths were added to the final chorus. After analysing some of the Make Pop Music YouTube channel tutorials, I decided to have a go at applying some of the production methods that were shown. In terms of the backing vocals, they were separated into several categories. The conventional backing vocals, which have been multi-tracked and pitch corrected to give them the modern tuned feel. These were as follows. Call me, baby, all I want from you. Vocal ad-libs and throws were created to accentuate phrases within the song, whilst digital delays are used to subtly fill gaps that otherwise would reduce the energy within the song. Main vocal. The lead vocal was triple-tracked, with the purpose of expanding and widening the vocal across the stereo field. Each of these vocals was processed similarly using pitch correction, compression, equalization and reverb. The lead vocal, however, was duplicated twice, with one vocal being pitch shifted up an octave and the other pitch shifted down an octave. Gotta feel good, baby, feel good, you got me real good. The structure. The structure of which being as follows: lead vocal left, lead vocal right, lead vocal up an octave, and lead vocal down an octave. A similar approach was used in the creation of the backing track vocals, where these vocals were triple-tracked and duplicated for some extreme processing. A harmony backing vocal of a third above was also sung and duplicated, this being pitch-shifted up another third. Again, all these vocals were tuned to give a processed effect used in current-day popular music. Call me, baby, all I want from you, all I want from you. Call me, baby, all I want from you, all I want from you. Yeah. Call me, baby. In the bridge section, or contrasting section, I employed a call and response rhythmical technique, with the response having a digital delay applied to create a cascading effect that was useful in filling any gaps. I want you back, I want you back, I want you back. Call I want you back, I want you back, I want you back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want you back, I want you back, I want you back. I want you back, I want you back, I want you back.